All right, and we're back.
We are back. Sorry about the technical delay there.
Yes, technical difficulties. I did not have my charger in all the way, which I did not realize. So my phone did end up dying. Luckily, YouTube is good and they save your progress. So,
God bless them
yes,
for that.
Exactly. So we weren't just talking for nothing. But
Yes.
anyways, this is part 2 of the Super Mario Retro Review Crew.
Yes.
So
Super
we're just going to
Mario Kart.
continue.
Yes, sir.
Where we were, and we were on Special Cup. We just kind of finished up Vanilla Lake 2.
Yeah, so we're on the last course of the game, Rainbow freaking Road.
And that brings us to Rainbow Road, yes.
A staple in the series, and one of my favorite ones, like, I guess, unique kind of templates. Music's great, love the stage, and it inspired, we're in almost every game, and maybe every game they've had a version of a Rainbow Road in there, so...
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a tricky one.
It's a beast, but it's captivating. It's such an interesting, cool looking level, you know.
Yeah, it's very unique, and it really tests your skills and makes you really realize what you've learned and what is tough. You want to stay in the middle of this track. First of all, the whole stage is rainbowy, rainbow colors, which is kind of cool, but it is tricky because there are no walls at all. And it's very easy to get bumped around and get knocked off.
Ugh.
So it's another one of these stages where it's difficult to know when do I use any mushrooms, when do I use my boosts, when do I do anything like that. And a lot of times I will find myself holding on to one because I don't know what the heck to do when to use it.
Right.
There are thwomps, and the thwomps in this stage are even worse than the ones in Bowser's Castle. Because these guys basically are shining like they have a star all the time.
These are like the ultimate thwomps, you
Yes.
know. They're not only do they crush you like normal thwomps, but if you hit them while they're on the ground, you spin out instead of just getting blocked by them.
So you'll lose coins, and you can get caught in this awful kind of repeating trap if you get smushed by one, where you it will keep hitting you, or if you run into one and you don't even get smushed, you can keep running into it too. So I've had that screw me over much worse than falling off the course ever can.
Oh yeah.
That's a big thing. So making those are actually even more of a problem for me than falling off the course.
Yep.
So I have to keep a good eye on like when I think they're gonna fall, and if you have items, especially like a feather or something or a star, sometimes they can save your butt.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
There's this jump area at the end of the stage right before you get to the finish line where the course veers off into two directions, and you have like a little jump bar in the middle where there's just a big hole in the middle. And the most tempting thing in the world to do, I swear, is to try to use your boost, your mushroom to go over that. But every time I do that, I just end up continuing to drive right off the course.
Yep.
So there's probably a much better way to do it. I have not figured out. So you usually have to pick a path going down one of the ways where the thwomps are. One has item boxes, and the other one has just a thwomp.
Oh man, it's being nimble.
Poison.
Being nimble in this stage is going to get you far, but also not going super fast either.
Right.
Just learning to pick your spots is the best recommendation I can have. I used Mario in this one, obviously, and
I was Yoshi.
You were Yoshi.
Yes.
So Jack be nimble, Jack be quick.
Yes. Even finishing like this, when I finally took home the gold on Special Cup, I still think the best I did was finish second on Rainbow Road.
That's exactly with me. Mainly because I only had to take second to get the gold. I actually ended up in a tie, but you get the tiebreakers, which is nice. So, that's what I did. I actually didn't want to get in first because I knew if I took second, I would get the same ending. And
sometimes you just got to play it smart and do the math and figure out what do I need to be in.
How many points did you have at the end? Do you remember?
Off the top of my head, I don't, but I actually think I might have it documented on here somewhere. Do you remember how many you had?
Yes, I had 36, and so did Donkey Kong Jr. So,
nice.
It was 36 to 36, and I was able to bring home the gold.
Very good.
And just as a reminder, when you're on 100 cc and you beat Rainbow Road, you get the ultimate ending. So you don't have to go up to 150 cc. It's just if you want to, beat it on the hardest difficulty, that's fine. But Obviously, with beating Star Cup, you unlock Special Cup on 100cc, but then beating the game on 100cc will, with beating Rainbow Road and winning the gold on Special Cup, you will beat the game in total, and you will get the ending.
Yes,
so
you get to see the credits.
Exactly.
Get to enjoy all that goodness, and then if you decide going further that you want to, you have that option. But when I did it, I don't know what my final points were on here, but I do know that I came in first as Yoshi, Peach came in second, and apparently Koopa Troopa came in third.
Oh, wow.
And the screen says, of course, "Congratulations, excellent driving. You are now a Super Mario Kart expert." Well, I'm not quite sure that I would go that far. It was pretty cool to get the screen and get to see Yoshi celebrating and throwing his champagne bottle up in the air and dancing around.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. I mean, with mine it was me, Donkey Kong, well, me, Mario, Donkey Kong Jr., and Princess Peach were the top three for me. So, and then you get the really cool ending, and I mean, it wasn't anything real special, but you know, they have some pretty colorful lettering and whatnot, and then you get the credits and all that. You get to watch
everybody kind of drive around and everything.
Yes,
it was good.
Yes,
a very rewarding experience, and then. Again, if you are really great or just love the game that much, you want to keep playing, you have the 150s to choose, but you don't get any new content.
Right.
It's just more of a challenge.
Right. It's just more of a challenge, and
everyone's faster, basically.
Yeah, everyone's faster. They use more. They're smarter. Yeah, pretty much. So that's really it on 150cc. You can beat the game on 100cc to get the full ending. So
yeah.
Before we wrap it up with all the grades we're going to give it. What do you think? A multiplayer mode is pretty fun.
I like it. The only thing that I don't like about the versus is fun because you can race with your with friends, and then you can still go with the normal thing. You get to good challenges that way. The battle mode is fun, but it does suffer from only being able to do it with 2 people.
Right.
If you could do like with a multi-tap and have 4 people, like you could in other ones, like an N64 version, there's 4 controller ports, so you can have 4 people, which adds a little something to it.
It's a little bit more fun.
It's too limited with just 2 people, but that's more of a drawback, I think, for the software at the time, I should say the Super Nintendo at the time, than anything else. But it's still fun to do. Sometimes you're just kicking around and feel like, okay, let's do something different. And you can, throw shells and stuff at your friends.
Exactly, and it was very innovative. It was a new type of mode, and it made the game fun. But like you said, screen looking and only 2 people. It's it's still fun, but it could have been better.
It gets boring after a
little while.
Throw
some bots in there,
Right, exactly. Make it interesting.
Believe it or not, they didn't throw bots. They actually had no bots in Mario Kart 64.
They didn't.
Not until you got Diddy Kong Racing, where you could actually play against the computer, and
which is kind of cool.
Yes, that was really cool about that. But we're not here to talk about Diddy Kong Racing. We're here to talk about Super Mario Kart. So battle mode was fun. Regular time trial racing is fun. Racing against your friend is fun.
Yeah.
You can also do the GP Grand Prix with another person.
Which is kind of cool, too.
That is cool.
It adds some fun for strategizing or opportunities if you're into that kind of thing to screw over your friend.
Yes, you can. Unknowingly or knowingly.
Yes, or knowingly. Yep. So it can be a lot of fun, and it's sometimes fun to try to strategize with your friends and be like, okay, we need to get this person out because this person's our main competition.
Yes. It's always fun, too, to have Mario Kart tournaments with your friends and whatnot. So
yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's go into the final wrap-up, and let's give our grades. Graphics, what do you think about the graphics in this game?
Especially at the time, I think the graphics are very good. Going back, I mean, they have aged actually pretty well, especially since this is a game that came out pretty early in the life of the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo in America came out in 91.
Yep.
And this came out in 92 in September, so I would say the graphics are very good. For the time, so I'm going to give them a good B. I think it was very good.
That's solid.
Yeah,
I think too. I think the graphics did well. They're very similar to Super Mario World, so we're pretty familiar with it, and they brought all the kind of textures that we saw in Super Mario World.
Right.
They made the ghost levels pretty kind of scary when you're a little kid, and I was always scared of the ghost levels. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, even in Super Mario World. So I'm going to give the graphics a good 7.7 out of
Ooh,
10.
You're going numbers. I like
I'm going
it.
numbers. Yep. I don't think they're crazy. They weren't the best of the Super Nintendo, but at the time they did
they
very
made
well.
good use with the software, I thought, and they did just a good job.
Yes. Let's go with the music. What do you think the music is?
I like the music actually a lot. I think that's the only thing that is a little bit disappointing is that there's not as much range of it. There's not as much variety as I would like. But again, I think that's a limitation of just the system at the time and them not knowing how to get the most out of certain aspects of it. Because everything, like I said kind of at the top of everything, is that each like templates, like all the Mario Circuit stages have the same music. All the Bowser Castles have the same music, which isn't really that big of a problem in this game particularly because a lot of the stuff is kind of becomes an iconic thing with it that you associate with it. So it doesn't bother me as much. It's just something that I kind of notice and think of with the different ones where there's more unique stages.
Right.
I still say though that the music's very good, high quality. Just I think a lack of variety is what slows it down a little bit. But again, not as much as it could for other ones. I think the music that they do is all done very well. So with that in mind, I'm going to give it a B+.
All right. I actually really like the music. I think it's really cool that they did individual music for all the different racers after your
That's
races.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's something I didn't touch on.
I thought that the music is just really well done, very uplifting, very very happy sounding music. I think they did a really good job with the soundtrack.
It captures the feel of like the stages and of like the series itself.
It does, and obviously they reuse a lot of them for the different stages, but I think they did a really good job, and I think the music is really good. So I'm going to give it a 9.4 out of 10, and especially coming out in '92.
Yeah,
I think they did a solid job.
They do. I will have to say Nintendo titles in general do a great job with music. Just impressive. I don't know what else to say.
Right.
But
so
good stuff.
I know there's not much of it in this game, but story.
Well, there isn't like you said, there's not really a lot of story. The story would basically be like, hey, we all got together, let's race.
Right. If I remember, I think I read somewhere where, what's his name, Lakitu?
Yeah,
Lakitu is like running the race, and I think, I don't know, I don't have the instruction manual. I wish I did, but
sure.
I don't know if the instruction manuals are in the Super Nintendo Classic or not, but if I remember correctly, Lakitu is like having this big event to see who's the fastest racer. I could be wrong on that, but I think I remember reading that. But very, very no storyline. You
don't really need a lot for these kind of games because this is more of, I would say, just a kind of sit down and play game rather than not like a big thing where you're building to a big crescendo or anything like that.
Right.
So there not being like a really strong storyline to it doesn't really bother me.
Right.
Because just like when you go to play a Mario Party game or playing Mario Tennis or any of the other Mario games out there, like the idea is basically it's fun. You're sitting down there. A lot of times you're socializing or just challenging yourself. Like I've said it before. You could have Mario doing pretty much anything in a game, and I probably would give it a shot. They could, like I said before, they could do Mario prostate exams, and I'm sure I'd probably I'd always still be like, oh well, it's got Mario in it, maybe it's okay.
Right.
But I would say it's hard to really give it much of anything because that's kind of how a lot of these Mario games are. There's not a lot to the storyline, so I'm gonna give it I guess I can't really give it too high or too low, so I'll give it a C+.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I don't think we can really judge it on story when it's not really meant to have a story. It's just more of a I don't want to say sports game, but it's similar. It's a racing game.
It's a game you don't want to go through like an hour and a half of like dialogue and stuff. You just want to get down and play. So and
I know I said I wasn't going to bring up Diddy Kong Racing, but Diddy Kong Racing actually does have a storyline to it.
Sure.
So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10 with the story. Basic. I know it might be too high, but I don't want to give it low either because it's not what it was intended. So
right.
Yep. So
that'd be like saying a game of like Madden 95 or something didn't have good story. Well, it's not meant to.
Right.
It's meant to just be a simulation kind of game.
Right. So let's go with the next one, which is difficulty, and we're gonna base it on how to beat the game, which is on 100cc. So
I would give it a strong let's see. I would give it a strong, I'd say probably an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, yeah.
I feel like it takes a lot of repetition and sometimes just getting lucky to beat like the whole thing. And beating it meaning getting golds and all the cups. So it keeps you going. It's a lot of repetition, and especially if you want to try to beat it with different weight classes. Like my favorite character is Bowser, and if I try to beat the game with him on 100 cc's or, good lord, 150 cc's, I would probably need another year to get there.
Right.
Because I, just don't think I have much of a chance of being able to do it.
Yep.
It's a tough game, and I think racing in different weight classes and mastering their turns and their strengths and weaknesses adds a lot of replayability to the game. So yeah, I would say probably about an 8 because there's a lot to get used to, and if you're trying to beat it with every different character, that's going to take a lot of work. And just beating it with one took a lot of work. So yeah, I would give it
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's
or
solid.
if I'm going with my other grading system, I guess a B plus.
B plus out of okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a B.
A B.
A B.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
My bad. All right, Hurley.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Take it away.
Are you, what? Nope. Okay. So no, I think that my the first 2 cups not too bad, but Star and Special make up for it.
Yeah.
So with that knowing, it is a lot of repetition on those last ones, especially trying to master Rainbow Road. I'm going to give it a solid 8.3 out of 10. I don't think it's overly bearing hard to beat the game, but
respectable.
It's enough to get you to...
There's times where you will curse.
Yes. And there's times where you'll be telling yourself, okay, one more try. And that's actually how I beat the game, by the way. It was one of those nights where it was frustrating, but I just powered through it and I got lucky and was able to beat it. I don't want to say I was all luck, but... getting second in Rainbow Road was a little luck, so.
Nice, though.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it 8.3. Solid game as far as difficulty. You'll have plenty of stuff. And then you can always bump it up to 150cc if you really want to make it more difficult.
If you're feeling lucky.
Yes. Let's go with replayability.
I would say it has a good amount of replayability. Again, trying to master the different weight classes and different characters, as well as how every character has like different rivals that they tend to have to face, different items. I give it a pretty high amount, actually, with all the different classes, too. Even once you've beaten the game at 100, if you're like really love it and you want to come back and try different challenges. So I would say I'm going to give that a solid 8.5 for replayability. I think it has a lot of shelf life on it, and I think that the fact that it's aged so well and still... has so much going for it, gives it a pretty darn high. So if I'm doing, again, my grading system, that would be a B+.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving it a B+.
Awesome. Yeah, replayability, I think the fact that we're still, talking about this game in 2018 and it was on the Super Nintendo Classic stands to the test of time.
Yeah.
You can always play with a friend. There's always stuff to do in battle mode if you really want to play with a friend again. And 150cc, it always makes it challenging. So you can just keep going back and forth and trying to beat it.
And work towards beating those world records.
Right. There's not a lot of unlockables, obviously. There's only just unlock Special Cup, but solid. Just there's a lot of stuff you can do in this game, and I don't think you're going to get bored with it too much because of the fact that it is a really solid multiplayer game. So I'm going to give the replayability a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Fair enough.
So with that comes our overall score for the game.
Right. I am going to give Super Mario Kart, let me get that right, for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, a strong, stout B+. I think it's a very good game. I think it has a lot of replayability, and I think that it's aged pretty darn well, all things considered. It does a lot of things well, like I said, that great replayability, songs that are easy to get stuck in my head even nowadays, and I don't know, just a fun atmosphere where I know it's going to be a challenging but fun experience, and it's very rewarding when you finally are able to get the goal you've been working for and having to repeat. So I think it's a great game, and I would give it a solid B+. Even among other different versions of the same series, it still ranks pretty high. brings home the bacon, fries it up in the pan, all that good stuff. How about you, Matt? What do you think?
I think the game was just so innovative, and yeah, sure, it's not the first racing game, but it's the first game to really take an iconic character like Mario and put him into a racing game and really switch up the Mario. I mean, you know, and it's just so innovative. And when it came out, I just remember being captivated by it, and it's influenced so many games.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
The game is fun. It's just fun. Might not be the best Mario Kart in the series, but it's up there. And I think just everything that we've talked about just makes it such a great game that you always come back to. Like, my 4-year-old son just loves watching it, and I think that stands to how good it is. So I'm going to give this game a solid 9.1 out of 10. I think there's some improvements they could have done. Some other things they could have worked on, but I think overall it is such an iconic game that it's just up there. You know, it really is. And when you look at it, you're like, oh, this is totally Super Nintendo, and it's one of the best racing games of all time. So.
Vintage Super Nintendo, my friend.
That's right. So 9.1 out of 10 for Super Mario Kart for me. And what was your final score?
I gave it a B+, so that would be an 85 in Travis math.
Nice. So we got about a 88 average, so pretty solid. So pretty solid. So that was the review for Super Mario Kart.
Yes.
For the Retro Review Crew. We'll just talk about what's coming up. We still have Quest 64.
Yes.
That is most likely going to be next.
It is an odyssey that we have been working on.
Yes.
We have not forgotten, though.
We have not forgotten about it. That's coming. And then for our next game besides that, we're going to try to do, since it is Halloween, we decided that we're going to do a survival horror.
Yes.
And that survival horror is going to be the Resident Evil 1 remake.
That's right, taking it back to the original.
Yes, the original Resident Evil, but it's going to be the remake that originally came out for the GameCube, but they have just re-released it for multiple platforms, and I believe I will be playing it on the Xbox One. You might be playing it on the GameCube.
I might do the
correct?
GameCube. I haven't decided yet. We're gonna see.
Awesome. That is really cool.
I will keep you in the loop.
I could also do it on the GameCube because I have one, but I figure maybe I'll just buy it on the Xbox
Sometimes it's interesting to see the difference too.
Correct.
Because everything does every different system it can be on can make things a little bit different. I mean, you'll get probably a different experience if you play Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation as opposed to if you play the remake they did on the GameCube, you know?
Right. I think that is kind of cool, too, if we do play some of the games on different systems just to see, like, okay, what was different here or anything,
like
and how are the controls and
like
whatnot.
what we did with Mega Man 1.
Mega Man was totally different.
Cheap plug there, if I might say.
That's right.
Our first ever.
That's right. So I just want to say, hit the subscribe button, and then also in the comments below, we want some comments.
Yes.
Tell us
Keep
what
it
games.
Clean, people.
Yeah, that's right. Tell us what games you want us to review too. Give us some suggestions because we are definitely open to some suggestions.
That's right.
Definitely after Quest 64 and Resident Evil 1, we can definitely whatever you guys want us to review, we'll definitely do it. It doesn't always have to be these great games. They can be even bad games.
It can be a game that you guys do not care for, but think it would be funny for us to review. Too.
Exactly. We could just totally trash it. I almost kind of want to get a bad game just so we just, go crazy on it and just talk about how bad the game is. But we have not had one yet. So
it's not. Yeah, we've been picking games that we either like or have been interested in for a long time. Games that maybe we played when we were kids and never beat. Or games that we have and just, like, let's go back to it.
Let's go back and see how it is. So all right, this is the Retro Review Crew, Episode 3, Part 2.
Yes.
I'm Matt.
I'm Travis. And as always, it has been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. We'll see you on the other side.
So it's good. Bye-bye.
Bye.